Should gay marriage be banned in North Carolina? It could be up to you.
Voters will decide if a ban on gay marriage should go into North Carolina's Constitution.
North Carolina is a very sexy destination for transplants, just not same-sexy, at least not yet. The NC House passed a bill to ban same-sex marriage. Today, the state Senate followed suit, and the end result? You and I will make the final decision inside the voting booth next May.
That may be the year's nominee for most unexpected moment in a local news lead-in. The Fox affiliate in Charlotte, North Carolina, lamenting that while North Carolina is undeniably sexy, it is not necessarily same-sexy. They had the Chiron up there. Same-sexy on local news. All hail WCCB in Charlotte, North Carolina. You win. In terms of North Carolina's same-sexiness, gay couples marrying is illegal in North Carolina, just as it is in 44 other states. But at the moment, same-sex marriage is nothing more than illegal in North Carolina. It is just against state law. It is not unconstitutional. North Carolina, the only state in the South that has not amended its state constitution to ban gay marriage over and above the ban on it in just normal state law. After the big conservative sweep of the 2010 midterm elections, which in North Carolina meant Republicans taking control of the legislature for the first time in more than a century, the new Republican majority in North Carolina's legislature decided that this was the year they would add to their existing legal ban on same-sex marriage by trying to doubly constitutionally extra ban it. And so thanks to the legislature's actions this month, citizens of North Carolina will be asked during next year's primary to vote on whether or not to change their state's constitution to doubly constitutionally extra ban same-sex marriage that's already banned. We, of course, don't know what North Carolina voters will decide on this issue, but more than 24 other states have put gay rights to a vote in the last decade, and every single one of those more than 24 other states has voted to amend their constitution to ban gay marriage. When we vote on minority rights of many, if not all, stripes in this country, we tend to vote no. It's part of the whole concept of rights. They are not supposed to be up for a vote. They are supposed to be inalienable, even by majority vote. Inalienable, or as the Declaration of Independence put it, unalienable. All men endowed by their Creator, unalienable rights. Among them, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, even if your particular brand of happiness is same-sexy happiness. In Mississippi this November, a different right will be up for a vote. Voters there will be deciding if they want to change their state's constitution to define a person as starting at, quote, the moment of fertilization, cloning, or the functional equivalent thereof. Obviously, the intended major effect of this legislation is about abortion. It's to take away women's right to have an abortion. And again, when you vote on rights anywhere in this country, generally you get reminded of why there is a need to call some things rights and to protect those rights from a vote, to protect them from majority rule. But particularly in Mississippi, when you poll Mississippians on social issues, you get fairly predictable answers. In 2004, for example, when Mississippi voted on an amendment to their state constitution to ban gay marriage, it won with 86% of the vote. It won in every single county in Mississippi. In 2001, Mississippi voters were asked if they wanted a new flag, one without an image of the Confederate emblem on it. Mississippi voted to keep the Confederate flag by more than 2-1. In March of this year, Mississippi Republicans were polled on whether interracial marriage should be legal. This is in 2011. Mississippi Republicans saying interracial marriage should be illegal, 46%. And another 14% say they are not sure. So if you ask Mississippi Republicans about interracial marriage in 2011, 60% of them think interracial marriage should be illegal or they're not sure. Only 40% think it definitely should be legal. This is the political environment in which abortion rights are going to be voted on in November in Mississippi. But here's the thing. It is not necessarily a sure thing that this will pass in Mississippi. Not necessarily. Here's why. Here again is that language they're going to be voting on. Changing the state constitution to define a person as starting at the moment of fertilization, cloning, or the functional equivalent thereof. The way the most widely used forms of birth control work is that sometimes they stop the fertilization of an egg. Sometimes they stop the implantation of an egg that has been fertilized. So if a fertilized egg is now going to be a person in Mississippi, does that mean that using birth control is going to be committing murder in Mississippi? Birth control is going to be illegal? The folks behind this personhood bill have said right on their website, they have explained that, yes, they are, in fact, opposed to certain forms of birth control, including the forms of birth control that, statistically speaking, you probably use. Now, the folks behind the proposed birth control ban in Mississippi, the birth control ban and total abortion ban, they have edited the FAQ section on their website since we took this screenshot and this excerpt about 2 weeks ago. They're now a lot more careful about it. Now, instead of listing all the different kinds of birth control methods they are opposed to, they just say, well, we don't advocate the use of contraceptives. Maybe somebody got to them with some of the numbers on the popularity of birth control in the 21st century. The campaign appears to be adapting its message to something in any case. Maybe it was the comparatively smaller group that has formed to campaign against this personhood amendment in Mississippi. They're called Mississippians for Healthy Families. Their website calls the amendment, quote, out-of-control government that puts the health and safety of Mississippi women and families at risk. The number one potential consequence they list of the personhood thing is that it could ban commonly used forms of contraception, which it very well could. Whatever the reason, it appears the ban birth control and ban abortion folks in Mississippi are trying to get people to stop talking about the ban birth control part of their campaign. But it does remain a very aggressive campaign. They're going all out for their big kickoff banquet. They got former Arkansas governor and Fox News TV personality Mike Huckabee to be their keynote speaker. They also got the wife of football player Brett Favre to sign on. And the people behind the Mississippi birth control ban and total abortion ban, they are also the people who campaigned earlier this year using something called the Conceived in Rape Tour. The message for their proposal, for, not against, was that they'd be forcing women who have been raped to bear the child of their rapist against the will of the rape victim. That is the case they are making for the personhood bill in Mississippi. The personhood bill is not native to Mississippi. The folks who helped get this measure on the ballot there have efforts underway to get it on the ballot in all 50 states. The only place they've actually gotten it on the ballot other than Mississippi so far is Colorado. And even though, as I say, Americans generally love to vote against rights, particularly controversial rights, this thing tanked when they got it on the ballot in Colorado. Colorado voted this thing down 73-27 back in 2008. Then they got it back on the ballot in 2010, and Colorado rejected it again, 71-29. But remember, they're going after all 50 states. The quest for conservative government control of every uterus and fallopian tube in America continues. The same anti-birth control activists and anti-abortion activists behind the Mississippi thing and the Colorado thing say they are gathering signatures right now to put it on the ballot in Ohio. In Nevada last year, they tried to get it on the ballot, but they couldn't get enough signatures. Now another group is trying again in Nevada this year. In Alaska this year, the state rejected a petition to get a personhood-style abortion ban on the ballot before the signatures were even collected because the state's Republican attorney general found it to be unconstitutional. In Iowa and in Maryland, conservatives in the legislature tried to get the birth control and abortion ban on the ballot, but they didn't get anywhere with it yet. In Montana, a plan to put the birth control and abortion ban up for a vote actually passed the Montana House, but then it didn't come up for a vote in the Senate. So even in a country that loves to vote against each other's rights, anti-abortion activists trying to ban the pill, but these personhood bills, so far, these things are not flying. They're not flying anywhere. In November, we will find out if that anywhere extends also to Mississippi. And tonight, America's preeminent documentarian, Ken Burns, is here to talk about the most successful campaign ever in American history to convince Americans to vote to take away their own rights. That is coming up.